Okay, so this is a another breakdown of I believe this time it's Mallory and Ivan. Um, this is a older video, so I'm not sure what belts. They're Mallory's a purple belt now, and Ivan's a brown belt. So it may have been around the same time. So they were probably purple and brown. Uh, Very sweaty mats, so pretty gross. But there it is. So let's see what happens here. This ought to be really interesting. Okay. Oh, this chopper. All right. So already some shenanigans going on. Um, so Ivan kind of pulls the lazy guard here. Uh, Mallory's gonna roll to the most likely roll to the shoulder or not. Let's see. Yep, she rolls to the shoulder. Looking to scoop a leg. The mat is pretty slippery. Ivan pops up. Looks like he's trying to get into a pass. Uh, and Mallory got her legs back. She's back up on her shoulder again. Uh, this is a good leg attack entry that we do a lot. Or it's also good for retention, guard retention. And it's, she could simply stay inverted here, or she could just swing back through and get her guard back, or go to a leg attack. Or even an upper body attack if Ivan's not careful and tries to drive down into the mat. So good position. Ivan's doing good here. He has legs or hands on the outside. Um, Maybe looking for a double under if she comes back down. There we go. So Ivan's just kind of using her feet to spin her around, which is always a good strategy. When somebody's balled up, always crunched in, which is actually what you should be doing when you're playing in a guarded or a guard position. Most guards, or when you're fighting off your back, you should, if you're not, you never be flat, obviously, but the more crunched in you are, the more balled up you are, the easier it is for you to move. So that being the case, it's somebody grabs your feet, they can easily spin you around. So that's what happened right there. Mallory went back to her inversion. I was trying to get to a look like a back attack for a second there, but Mallory kind of sensed the back attack, chose to fall back to her guard, opening the leg so that maybe she can get a full guard position here. Ivan's posturing because he does not want his head down in that position because triangles arm bars in full guard. Ivan's back to the inside position. Mallory's controlling the posture, which is always good. Keeping his head low so that she can get some attacks. The reason why there's a question asked today actually, why people are always have the posture and trying to pull it down in these kind of half guard or knee shield or butterfly type of positions. Well, because the simple answer is that if Mallory can effectively keep Ivan's posture down and control it, she has more opportunity for attacks. So like upper body attacks. So as soon as Ivan postures, and she has lower body attacks. So that's a good reason to control the posture. It also gives her an anchoring position. So notice how her left hand there is kind of anchored around his neck instead of trying to control his posture. She's anchored. So that way, if he pulls back, he pulls her with him, and she can try to get to top position if she wanted to. Okay, Ivan's trying to look for a pass here by crossing his arm over. Mallory has like a Russian tie here, which is really good. Could be a Russian tie or just a simple overhook, but it's more of a Russian tie because Ivan's arm's on the inside. If Ivan's arm was on the outside, then it would be more of a kind of a dogfight position. But because he's kind of crossed over like in an arm drag, and Mallory has an overhook, this is more of a Russian tie position. I can't see your hand configuration on the other side, but certainly from the back here, it looks like more like a Russian tie, which is always a really good position. And it is, because she's starting to go upside down here. Oh, she went a little too slow on that one. Ivan decided to turn the corner Go for a headlock position, headlock control. Mallory settles into turtle. I was going to transition to the other side, maybe control the hips. Mallory's going to try to get her feet back underneath her so she can get back to her guard. Let's see what happens here. Yep, she just went. Yep, okay, good. Yep. So that was a cool little transition, even though it seemed very, very simple. But Mallory's very controlled going down, getting Ivan to think that she's gonna just try to go flat and pull her leg in. Ivan knows this, and so Ivan is kind of anticipating that. But they're both kind of playing a game here. She could have, but I could already tell by the way she was moving. She was just baiting that because she was going to go right back to her shoulder. And if for some reason it did work, she would just pull her knees in and she'd get her guard back. So this is a good case for the principle of kind of teetering in between positions, not not committing to one or the other. And both of them are kind of playing that game right now. Playing position. Mallory is probably one of the best I've seen at honestly that keeps her hips always up in the air. This makes it very hard to pin her down, right? And it makes her very mobile, and it makes her very threatening because this simple position can easily turn into an attack. Okay, she went back to the mat, see if she gets something there. Came back to her shoulder. But now she might gain something from getting turtle. Nope. Ivan switching, so Ivan looking for a Darce or guillotine, or maybe even anaconda, because all three of those go together. He's looking for something in that area in this position here because he has an over under. So it's like a seatbelt. So now he's going to try to get to the cross face. Mallory staying really good, keeping her arms real tight, elbows tight in, maintaining the inside position, critical. Both Ivan's arms, if you notice, are on one for the cross face and one blocking her hip, stopping the shrimp and trying to gain a cross face. But here's the battle: is that Mallory's maintaining the inside position by not opening up, but she can't shrimp back into Ivan at this particular point because he's blocking her hip. So she's going to turtle. That's why she keeps going back to turtle. Instead of trying to, if you watch newer people in that particular position, they would have just tried to put their knee in, right, and try to get like a knee shield back, and they would just fight and fight and fight. Instead of doing that, Mallory just kind of bypasses that and just goes straight to turtle. She has a good frame here with her arm framing out on the hip, trying to generate some space. Okay, now she's popping up. She's effectively generated space. This presents some problems for her, obviously, because it opens her up. Good. So Ivan turned the corner, got her back to her mat, but Mallory kind of achieved what she was trying to do, which was get her legs back. Nope, she lost it and she went back to turtle. Never ever being flat. Man, this is I'm glad it's the first time watching this, but I'm glad I'm watching this because this is a really good case study for the whole point of never ever ever being flat on your side or flat on your back. Staying mobile. Generating space between you and the floor, not you and your partner, and that's what she keeps doing. That's how she's able to keep moving. Now she just sits up. Ivan had a good arm drag position there, trying to drive her back down as she sits up to create space. Now she has an opportunity to get her feet back underneath. Boom. So now she's back to butterfly. Just that 1 minute, I guess that's a minute now, or a minute and a half of defense, but also attacking and gaining position back. So really good example, and not a ton of effort put into it either. So now we're at a butterfly position. Looks like she's got Ivan's posture broken down. Ivan's got to be careful with the 100%, which she just did right there. So a common theme I always joke about is Mallory always goes for the 100% because it is a fantastic position. So everybody should be going for that. So this is when everybody whenever anyone has their posture broken down into your down like this, like Mallory has Ivan's posture broken down, she can simply swing over the head and through the armpit and get the 100%. This one inevitably be a sweep of some sort, or guillotine or neck crank. Ivan's doing a real good job. Oh, well, never mind. I was about to say, Ivan's doing a really good job of being heavy and staying tight to her hips. But it looks like Mallory's pulling really hard. She has her hands gable gripped, which reinforces the structure and makes it very, very strong. You know, I wouldn't, I would not say that Mallory is the biggest and the strongest in the gym. Certainly one of the most technical. So she gable grips her hands there to reinforce the position, and now she has the leverage to pull. Boom. So when she pulls, now she's on top, and this is going to lead into her going either into mount position, depending on Ivan's response, going into mount position, or or a neck crank. You wouldn't want to go into a neck crank, but it is an option, or going into a guillotine. But let's see what Ivan's response is here. Okay, his response is to grab his own leg. No, I was kidding. So I see what Ivan's doing. He's trying to anchor his arm onto something because he doesn't want his arm separating from his body. So he's anchoring on his own leg, effectively stopping Mallory from separating that arm from his body. Or he could pull his leg and try to get something back, but now that's too far. So he's holding his own leg. She's looking for a crucifix position. It doesn't look like she got it, so she's going back to top position. If you notice that transition, this is exactly the way you should be transitioning. She never moved the upper part of her body. She maintained attachment and control of the upper body, and just simply turned her hips. So something very simple but effective all throughout jiu-jitsu. Is just she's not being clunky about getting up and then getting back on top, and having separation from the top of her body to Ivan. So good transition. Looks like Ivan's still holding onto his leg to not get it separated. Okay, so now you let go. Okay, so I've got his arm back. Mallory's pushing on the legs there so that she can drag either to mount or get to the knee on belly. Trying to get Ivan's legs out of the way. And once she does this, Ivan's legs are for that moment are out of the game. So Ivan has his two arms to defend himself currently. So whereas Mallory has her weight, both her legs, both her arms. So knee on belly position. And this is more of a controlling knee on belly position. There are variations to knee on belly. She's opting for the shin across the stomach, which is more of a controlling knee on belly rather than like a more painful. And it looks like she has. So she's really. It looks to me like she's really driving to get an underhook. So her right arm is really driving to try to get an underhook on Ivan's left arm, so that she can possibly step over to an armbar or gain a Kimura position. Ivan understands this, and that's why he's kind of staying flat. This is one of the rare times that going flat will kind of help you out. Is if Ivan were to get on his side, he'd be exposing his left arm by sticking it up in the air, and Mallory would be able to dig under and slide into arm bars, Kimuras, and all kinds of things, back attacks. So Ivan got on his side here. Looks like Mallory's going for head and arm control. Nice. So Mallory had a bit of an overcommitment there, and it's because her weight shifted right here. So when her left arm left the mat and she started to post or started to try to go for, it looks like she's going for some sort of darce or guillotine kind of control or position, or maybe even a submission. But in doing so, she's driving her legs forward, and now both her hands are on the mat. Ivan is facilitating the movement in that direction by overcommitting her that way, by both hands pushing that direction and using his hips. If you notice, her, right here, his back is off the mat here, so that means he's bridging really high to overcommit her in that direction. Once you, Ivan understands that once the commitment to that direction is achieved, that now there's leg attacks from backside here, which we'll see what happens. But Mallory's usually pretty good at keeping her knees tucked to her chest in this type of position, so it's going to be a little more difficult to actually enter into a leg lock here. Yeah, so she slides out, but then he grabs her back. So that's actually not a bad. Mallory's in a bit of a predicament there because Ivan, because he started to get a hold of her leg here, she started to recognize that that top leg is starting to reap over. If she were to actually extend away from him, she would effectively give him an extended leg, which would make that right leg of Ivan's go into a reaping position, which we would end up in a sambo knot, honey hole, all kinds of different leg variations depending on what he does with his left leg. So, because of that, she opted to get heavy on the leg, stay on her knees, and sit back, thinking she was probably going to turn back into him. But Ivan had control here with the back. Boom, she's right there. So, so yeah, I think this is a bit of a timing issue as well. So, Ivan recognized it pretty quick, and so boom, got the back. So she recognizes it. She starts to go to turtle, addressing the choke, bringing her knees in, trying to prevent the hook, Ivan's legs from popping in. She's bridging back. Ivan's pulling her back. She got to get control. And again, Ivan does the same thing Mallory just did. He didn't lose connection with the top of his body, and he just rotated his hips. Again, a simple thing. But honestly, I watch a lot of people train. I've trained a lot of people over the years, and from beginners to advanced, and you know, it still surprises me. A lot of people don't do that. Boom, right there. So no connection lost from top. Just simply switching the hips, pop into the knees. Boom. And once you get to the knees, he still effectively has a seatbelt position and can start to reattack the back. He's got a good seatbelt. So most likely he's probably going to take the right foot, put it parallel to her spine, try to step the left foot over possibly, or at a minimum pull her back to get to the back. But let's see what happens. Maybe he'll opt for a mount or something. So back attack there is kind of obvious. So Mallory did a good job getting her back right back to the mat, which is probably the one of the better things she could have done at the moment instead of exposing her back even more. You don't want your back exposed like that. So she got her back flat to the mat. Now she has to deal with side control with a good crossface. Not the end of the world. She still has both her hands on the inside, it appears, or at least the one arm is. Mallory's doing a good job using her hips to bump, not pushing him off. She's using her hips to give that bump, just to gain a little bit of space to get more of that inside position. I suspect that little bump was probably because her left arm was a little awkwardly stuck there, and she just wanted to get a little bit more on the inside. If you notice, right here, right there. See how her arm is kind of like stuck under his chest right there, and then it kind of just her elbows kind of flared here. That's not such a great thing. That means her hand is kind of wedged a little bit in between that crossface, so it's got to be a little uncomfortable. And she needs to gain a little bit of. I see her hand starting to pop out. So now she needs to get a little bit more space, and boom, she bridges. And as she bridges, she's able to get back to the inside position. This is good. So she's bridging again. I'm opting to go to the armbar now. So this is good. Just a step over armbar. Mallory's in some trouble now. Ivan's still holding on to that Kimura grip. There's that, see that leg right there sliding? Whenever you feel that leg, that right leg of Ivan, or anybody really, starts to slide that leg parallel with the spine there, as soon as he scoops under that neck, he's going to go for the back. It's usually an option. Boom, right there. So every single time that happens, they're going to go for the back. So he's pulling her over to this direction, trying to establish a hook. Nice. So he got the choke. As soon as he had control, if we just back up a little bit, as soon as he rotated her over, he had a seatbelt grip, so he had a hold of her left hand. And then as he was coming across, Mallory's other hand did not make it in time to stop the crossface. Or I'm sorry, the rear naked choke. And the rear naked choke here, it was just a one arm. It's all he needs because the Mallory's other arm was not in the equation. And if you look at the Ivan's hand here, his chin, he's ear to ear with Mallory here, which is what he should be. His hand is controlling, is on top of her hand on the knuckle line, and his chin is on top of his own thumb to hide the thumb, which is critical. So, because obviously the way out of a rear naked choke is to get a hold of the thumb region to try to peel away. So, really good roll. I wonder if I'll have time to start again. Yep, might do a little bit more. No, that's it. Good rolls. So that was really good. Both Mallory and Ivan are excellent, excellent at jiu-jitsu. Really, very, very technical and phenomenal training partners. So definitely, if you can, get some rolling in with these two people. So yeah, that's another one.